Hello and a very warm welcome to the Sparkling Autos YouTube channel. If you've been following this mini-series over the past few weeks, you'll know that the engine bay, the gloss black alloy wheels and even the bodywork have been safely pre-washed and deep cleaned, and so far nothing has gone wrong. Well, nothing major anyway. Until now, that is. Oh dear, what has happened here? Well, there's only one way to find out. But before we get to that, I do need to quickly tackle a few tar spots on the paintwork. Very briefly though, as unfortunately this was done straight after the wheels and the car were cleaned, and as I only have 2 batteries, I did eventually run out of power for the camera. So, still sticking with the Garage Therapy products, and this is Zero Tar and Glue. Now the first thing you might notice is some discoloration on the door where I've applied it. That's simply the product reacting with water, and it's absolutely nothing to worry about. Technically, tar and glue products should be applied to dry paintwork, but time was a factor here, mainly in terms of direct sunlight, which does play a major role later in the video. This isn't actually the first time I've used Zero Tar and Glue on the channel, and to be perfectly honest, while I think it's a very good maintenance product if you're regularly removing tar spots, I do think there are stronger products out there for tackling larger spots or for more heavily contaminated vehicles. But of course, as always, that's just my opinion. So, now we reach the very subject of the video, the fallout remover. In this case, Garage Therapy Zero Iron Oxide, which I'm going to spray, as I always do, quite liberally over the entire car, wheels included. So whilst I do try to vary the brands and products that I feature on the channel as much as possible, off camera there are 4 or 5 brands that I do most of my car cleaning with, and Garage Therapy are one of those brands. I've actually been using iron oxide quite a lot over the past 3 years, and I'll explain why. So as you may know, I'm not one to go into the chemistry behind products too much, but what I will say is this: rather than being just a pure fallout remover, it actually contains some of the surfactants from the Zero Decon shampoo, which I've already demonstrated throughout this series is one of my favourites, making this a very capable product for both decontaminating and cleaning. But one of the things I love most about it is its incredible dwelling time. In fact, I've seen occasions on cooler, perhaps cloudier days than this, when I've left it to dwell for around 30 minutes or more without any problems whatsoever. This, however, was not one of those days. This is one of those situations that causes a lot of people anxiety, but fear not, it's really not that big a deal. So if you find yourself in a situation when fallout remover has dried into the paintwork, you have 2 options. Option 1, which was the only option I used to go with, is simply to spray more product over it to reactivate it, but in direct sunlight that's not always ideal. So here's option 2. Now I'm not going to take full credit for this idea. I actually picked the tip up from an excellent video by Graham at GM Details on this very subject about 18 months ago, and I'll share a link to that video in the description. But basically all you need to do is spray some snow foam over the vehicle again, which, just like spraying more product, reactivates it again, allowing it to continue to do its thing, or at least not etch its way into the clear coat. So choosing this over the first option has 2 major benefits. Number 1 is that it's considerably cheaper than the second application of a fallout remover, especially as I had around 200ml of snow foam solution left over after the wash stage. And the second benefit is that blanketing the car in white foam in direct sunlight actually reflects the light away, cooling the panel temperatures, giving you even more dwell time. Of course, there's always that third benefit, in that it allows you to get some of those raspberry ripple shots that always go down well on Instagram, if you're into that sort of thing. Does anyone else find it incredible how fallout particles always find their way into the nooks and crannies you can hardly get a brush into? And before I start rinsing products off, I'm using the last 30 to 40ml of snow foam solution over the parts of the car in direct sunlight, again just so that the white foam reflects the sun, keeping those panels cooler and taking a bit of time pressure off. And off camera, just to the left of shot, I'm just rinsing out the foam lance while the products get their last couple of minutes of dwell time in. And after a couple of minutes being distracted by chatty neighbours, it's time to rinse off. Now this may or may not be interesting to anybody who's watched the previous 3 episodes, so to give you a sense of timescale, all of the before shots and the engine bay video I recorded on the Friday evening after work. This was in June by the way, and then I got stuck into the wheels and the car cleaning first thing on Saturday morning. And this final rinse you see now was just before 1 PM on the Saturday. It was definitely getting too hot to do much more. In fact, the temperature was well into the 20s, and as you can see in reflection of that sparkling clean paintwork, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. So it was definitely time to stop for something to eat, or at the very least a frosty pint of something or other. Now at this stage I was still planning to apply the finishing products after an extended lunch break, but the position of my driveway means that it doesn't return to the shade until early evening, so I decided to leave that until the next day and take even more pressure off. It's times like this that I really appreciate living in a soft water area, as towel drying the car in these conditions really is a race against time. But as always, glass first to dampen the towel, otherwise I risk marring the paintwork by running a dry towel over it. I should also point out just how faded the plastic is on the scuttle panel, and use that to tempt you into subscribing if you haven't already done so, just to see what I'm going to do with that in the next video. And if you think the paintwork looks good now, just wait until I've applied the finishing products next time around. But for now, that's really all I have to say. So if you've made it to the end, as always, thank you very much for your support. Please do give the video a thumbs up, and I will hopefully see you on the next one. Take care.